to MMA Fancast. My name is Luke Payson, and I am honored to have returning guests on the show. Back on the show, a friend of mine, a hometown Pittsburgh hero, Cowboy Eddy Paria. Cowboy Eddy, welcome back to the show.
What's happening? How you doing tonight?
I'm pumped. It was just announced. 247 Fighting Championships announced. It's a big deal. They announced that you are going to be taking on Hoot Lee for a title fight here February 24th. Their next event for 247, which is going to be 247 Fighting Championships Brawl in the Berg 20th. This is massive. This is a lightweight amateur title. You're 3-0. He's 3-0. Take it away. What are your thoughts on this fight? How pumped are you that not only that you're matched up against the guy who's also undefeated, got a lot of hype behind him, you've got a lot of hype behind you, but also the fact that this is for your first belt?
Yeah, I mean, I think I talked about it last time I was on the podcast, but I mean, I'm fired up. This is a whole area of my game I finally get to open up. I've been training it for the past year and just haven't been able to use it. And now, what better place to showcase those skills than in a title fight, But I mean, I'm fired up. I don't think there's another fight I would have wanted right now where I'm at. I think it's an awesome opponent. It's a great chance to showcase the skills I've been working on, and again, he's a tough kid, so it's definitely gonna be a good fight,
Yeah, and for people that are just jumping in to watch this fight because of the title fight implications, go back and watch the last interview I had with Cowboy Eddy about your last fight, because you took on a tough fighter with very little notice because of some switcheroos that happened back in December. And so that originally your opponent was going to be fighting for a title eliminator, and obviously you beat him. Now this is the title fight that makes sense. For anybody that's watching this that hasn't already subscribed to MMA Fancast, please subscribe, because you're going to get awesome, great interviews, more with Cowboy Eddy in the future, as well as pretty much anything that's happening in Pittsburgh. So when you had the fight you did in December, how confident were you? Because I asked you and you ended up calling out Hoot Lee in the cage. How confident were you that this fight was going to come together, and why do you think this is the time for this fight? And what should Pittsburgh be excited about?
To start off, I mean, it's the time for this fight because there's no point of us prolonging our careers and waiting till we're maybe not undefeated, or maybe waiting till we're 5-0 to go against each other. Like, you got three dudes who got big fan bases, and they want to scrap. I mean, who better to put up against each other? You know what I mean? And so it's just exciting. I mean, I think people should be fired up. It's everyone. I went to the fight, and I think it was October. I wasn't fighting and he was fighting, and I remember I was there with Craig Perry because he was fighting, and I mean, he did had a big fan base. Not bigger than mine, but dude definitely had some fans there. So I mean, it's definitely gonna be a good clash. You know what I mean? I was looking at the post that 247 posted, and it was flooded 50-50. So it's going to be an exciting fight. I think this is what the people want to see. I think this is there was a lot of debate about us not being 4-0 or us not having a fight in advanced amateur yet and whatnot, and I feel like that actually makes it a little more exciting because you don't really you don't really know. Neither of us have had an advanced amateur fight yet, so it's I don't know. I'm just excited. It's exciting in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree. I think as far as people seeing something that's guaranteed to be exciting, not only because you guys are both 3-0, big fan bases, and the fan base is going to make this fight, whether it was a title fight or not, feel like a title fight. Of course, it is a title fight. The fan bases make a big difference. If people haven't been to live MMA, you really can't feel it over the TV. You really got to get live. You sell a ton of tickets. I mean, we've talked about it. You're wearing some of your Cowboy Eddy gear as we talk right now. And that's a big deal, that when you can see a sea of Cowboy Eddy fans, and then, of course, Hoot Lee's going to have his people with their T-shirt, makes a big difference. But something that I think is even more exciting for the fans is the fact your guys' both skill level is at that level, right? It's not just a matter of being 3-0, but you kind of, you both have looked sloppy or whatever. You both have been dominant. and obviously I'm going to have him on the show. It's going to be an exciting interview too. But you guys are both dominant, dominant maybe in slightly different ways. But you brought up the fact that very exciting fighters. You train out of Death Star Worthy's gym, the Academy Pittsburgh. You got a lot of talent and ability coming in. Without giving technical, hints away, the advanced amateur that you're going to be fighting under is going to give you guys an extra 3 minutes to fight, which is a huge deal. No shin pads, another big deal, and punches to the face on the ground. Still no elbows to the head, either standing on the ground. No head kicks, but no knees to the head. But still, ground and pound, 3 minutes longer, and no shin pads. For you, how much more of like a pro style fight do you think this is going to feel for you? And what are you looking forward to the most in the rule change?
Definitely for sure. The 3 minutes that's the ground and pound for sure, but the 3 minutes especially because that gives you more time to work. Like if you watch my fight with Timbo, we exchanged for a second, then we went down, and then I was in half side and then mount, and then the round was over. Like there was, what I mean, there was I got there, but I didn't really have any time to work. You know what I mean? And you can't, especially when you're just in the amateur rule set, you can get them out, but like you can't really just go for a submission. You know what I mean, you get them out, you just shoot armbar, you're gonna end up on the bottom. You know what I mean? Being able to punch now, and that's gonna open up, a whole bunch of different areas that at the amateur level you couldn't do. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited about the 3 minutes, and then um, I think this is one of those things for me personally, like an ego thing. I'm just excited for it to be like a real fight. No shin gear. The only more primal thing you could do is just no gloves. You know what I mean? Like I'm just excited to get in there and it feel like kind of like what you see on TV. You know what I mean? I'm excited to feel like it sounds corny, but the pain and shin to shin contact. And yeah, I'm just excited to feel those things finally.
Yeah, and you guys are at the level. I would say most advanced amateur fights that 247 put on are big time, whether they're for a title or not. They're big time fights, and they look like pro fights in two ways. One, because you're not wearing shin pads, right? So for a lot of people in the audience, I've heard people talk that they kind of assume advanced amateur fights are pro fights because of what they see in the UFC, and so it has that visual. But then the second thing that's probably even more important is the level of fighter to be able to fight advanced amateur is a big deal. You mentioned Craig Perry. He's had an advanced amateur fight. It matters, right? When you're fighting advanced amateur, it's higher competition. You're at a better quality. And what some people don't know is the athletic commissioner of the state of Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, actually has to sign off when somebody goes advanced amateur because he has to look at the quality of the opponents. And obviously, you guys undefeated. It's a no brainer. But there's a lot that goes into advanced amateur. And I think that's what's super exciting. I was sitting cage side, and when you talked about your Timbo fight, it really did feel like, and obviously he put on a great fight. It was very entertaining. You guys, great competitors, but it really did feel like if it was an advanced amateur fight and you had a minute more to work from mount and ground and pound, that it could have been a much faster ending. And so for you, you were in that fight. We talked both before and after that fight. How much of a relief is it now that if you get into a mount or you get in a dominant position, like you no longer have to kind of like hold yourself back?
Um, yeah, I mean that's kind of the whole reason we do it. You know what I mean? It's you want to, for me especially. Well, one thing is anything I do, I'm just doing 100%. I don't really believe in half-assing anything. So I wanted to get 4 fights last year. I had some problems in October that I couldn't, but I ended up just speeding through 3 because I just want to get those first 3 out the way. So we could have gone to Ohio to fight or something like that, but the 247 guys, they do a good job with their production and the matchmaking and everything they did. So I was like, you know what, I'll just speed through these 3 real quick, and then come 2024, be able to open up and do whatever. So
Yeah.
um, yeah.
Well, and getting 2024, we're still in January now, but getting 2024 off to a fast start by fighting in February leaves a lot of room in 2024 for other fights. 247's already announced an April 20th card, and so there's a lot more room left in 2024 to fight multiple times, potentially at advanced amateur, maybe even potentially at pro, depending. That's a you and comma thing. But obviously, there's a lot of time left in 2024, and if you don't take your first fight until July or August, in a year, and sometimes I look back on Tapology and see that where fighters, they're riding a bit of a win streak, but then they kind of stumble with not being able to fight often, and that does matter. Being able to stay busy because it can make a big difference if you're fighting 3 times a year like you just did, or 1 time, right?
Hmm.
Speaking of fighting 3 times, you're 3-0. We don't know. The voting just closed about half hour ago. Voting's just closed for 247 awards, and you're up, obviously nominated. What do you think about kind of when you look back at 2023, your 3-0 run, which was impressive? What do you think about your nominations? What do you think about 247 doing? This is the second annual award show. What do you think about them doing the award show and it kind of growing? They announced today that over 3 times the number of people voted this year than last year. It might be 4 times by the time they actually tally all the stuff. So let's talk about that.
I had a feeling I was going to be nominated for some. I didn't watch the first awards, so I didn't know if I didn't know all the categories, or I don't know if they added new ones this year or what, or you know what I mean, whatnot. But before they had announced it, I had a pretty good feeling I was going to be up for something along the lines of like newcomer or I mean, some category in that. And then just with my fans, I had a pretty good feeling I was going to win that one. But and I don't know if you saw the polls they posted there. I had like 50% of the votes or something like that.
Oh, okay. So we kind of know. Okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll see. This is a great time to tell people they need to tune in. It'll be on the 247 Live app for free because
Mm.
the podcast stuff is free on the Live app. Download it, even without a subscription. You can get it, or on Facebook, I'm sure. January 24th, 7 p.m. It's going to be an incredible. I'm honored because I'm going to be one of the presenters, and it's going to be an incredible night. And
Wait,
obviously, what?
do you get an actual like a award?
Yeah, you get a physical award. It's gonna whoever wins is gonna have a physical award that says the name of the winner and what category they won. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I was up for submission, but I saw Ethan Goss was up there. And I mean, he's a really great fighter. So I had a feeling I was gonna struggle to try to pull that one off from his people. You know what I mean? And just also just caliber of fight. You know what I mean? I had a whatever my submission was called, but I mean, he's a professional. His fights was a lot more advanced than mine was. So I don't even know if I really should have been in that running.
Well, you know what's kind of cool there is there are some categories that 247 Awards does where it's just amateur, like amateur newcomer of the year, amateur fighter of the year, or pro fighter of the year. But at the same time, what's also cool about 247 is some of the categories mix pro and amateur, like you're talking about. Fight of the year is both pro fights and amateur fights are up in the same category. Submission of the year. So I think that's cool. And I tell people, of course, you've only fought for 247. I think it's an incredible promotion to take somebody from 0-0 like you're doing, all the way up through amateur, all the way up through advanced amateur, and all the way up into pro, where we've seen Kama fought for them. That was the last promotion he fought for. Of course, he was a big time established pro already, but 247, he won a title and went to the UFC, right? So like 247 can handle this wide range of talent and ability. And I think the award show kind of show that, where you can start off as newcomer and end up being, potentially in the future pro fighter of the year. That's what's so cool about that, about the range of the promotion. And so I also think it's good for you because we've talked. You're an incredible athlete. You're a great fighter, but you're also, being the fact that you've played college football at a high level, you also have to be realistic. And one of the cool things about fighting is you'll get a better submission at some point in the future, right? Like there's no harm. Your submission was impressive. It got nominated. We'll see obviously what the winners play out like. But I think it's cool that it can kind of keep you hungry, keep you like, hey, you still get the opportunity to do something cool in the future. You've talked about the advanced rule set. I think it's going to be absolutely incredible. A title fight needs that extra time. Longer rounds, a bigger rule set. It's going to be a huge thing for you. And I might have asked you this before, but I'm not really sure. you come from that football background. You're a real stud of an athlete. You've got a lot of explosivity coming into MMA, and I know you had some unsanctioned fights, we'll call it, previous to MMA, but coming into Kama's gym and all that, what aspect of MMA were you looking forward to the most? Like, because you already thought you had an advantage there, and what aspect of MMA did you think, man, I'm gonna really have to learn a lot? And we're going back to when you started.
Yeah, it comes with just being a realist. I think I'm as realistic with myself as can be, and I knew all around I was gonna need improvement everywhere. Like someone who never wrestled, never did anything other than football. There's no way I was gonna walk into a fight gym and be a good wrestler or be a good striker or you know what I mean. So I remember when Dave Sachs took over and Kama, it was just like literally zero. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I've been in some unsanctioned fights or whatever, but that's just like mayhem. And it's just you know what I mean? Like, there's no. So I knew it was going to be zero, and whatever progress was made was honestly a testament to the academy. You know what I mean? And those coaches there and some of the other gyms we train at. Um, but the one thing I was definitely looking forward to was just a real fight feel. You know, like I said before, no shin gear, longer rounds. You know, and now I'm not. I don't want to speak past advanced amateur, but like I'm definitely looking forward to 5 minute rounds later on. That's you know what I mean. It's
Sure.
that's the like you just said about staying hungry. It's just constantly being excited about stuff. You know what I mean? You tend to fall into a rut when you get stagnant, and it's like, and I kind of fell into that too when I was in my amateur phase. It was like I just want to get out of these advanced amateurs. And I remember Shaka was like, dude, just have fun though. Like, you know what I mean? You're trying to speed out of here. You're trying to turn pro tomorrow. He was like, dude, just have a good time in these and just learn everything you can learn. You know what I mean? Enjoy just being out there. You'll remember your amateur career. You'll remember your pro career. It's like just enjoy these moments of being there. So at first I wanted to speed into ground and pound and I wanted to, you know, be Floyd Mayweather. And then it was like, you know what, now I'm just every day we just sparred the night. You know, I mean, Khan was punching me in my face and I'm just enjoying learning from that and just getting better from that every day, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's the part that just athleticism doesn't teach, right? Athleticism can't teach the mindset. So the fact that you've got a great mindset and are humble, you mentioned Coach Dave Sachs, he's off doing kind of advanced education, and but he's left a lasting impact on all of Pittsburgh MMA, really, particularly you guys. So everybody that you've trained under and with at the academy, it's the development. We've talked specifically about Craig Perry. I got to interview Craig Perry. How Craig Perry now has a bit of like a nutrition cutting, like weight cutting side for Craig Perry, which is awesome. Craig Perry and you guys coming up together, kind of learning the ropes together, which is great because I know Craig came into fighting with just kind of karate background, sort of the stand up background, but no type of well rounded. So pretty awesome stuff. Now let's get to the part that I think everybody's always gonna skip forward to try to find the prediction that you want to make for this fight. And of course, I'll give you the opportunity when I interview Hoot, he can make the opportunity to say what he wants. But what is Cowboy Eddy's official prediction on MMA Fancast for the 247 lightweight amateur champion of the world that's going to be fought at Brawl in the Berg 20? It's a big, cool number. Brawl in the Berg 20 on February 24th. What is going to be your official prediction?
Just based on my previous fights, based on training and just how I know myself and so on and so forth. I think the advanced amateur rule set's gonna open up a lot of stuff. And I mean, I definitely don't see this going the distance, you know. I definitely do I have an exact prediction? Probably not. I mean, me personally, I'd like to say TKO, you know what I mean? But I don't really focus on that kind of stuff. Wherever the fight takes me, it takes me. So
Yeah.
I don't see it going the distance. So
Fair enough. And I think it's very exciting. This is one of those, the cliche is don't blink, but this is going to be a don't, well, you don't blink in there because you're going to be fighting, but I'm going to make sure I'm not blinking because it's one of those where it's just going to have the tension and the excitement from the room and from the crowd, as well as the quality opponent. And you mentioned it, part of staying hungry and part of seeing this as a career. And I know you see this as a career, and Hoot sees this as a career. Craig Perry clearly wants to develop himself coming back from a really bad, and he's up for comeback fighter of the year. How exciting is that?
Yeah, you got my fight. There were definitely some really tough nominees in there. Carly was in there. You know what I mean? I think she was winning
Yeah.
on some goals. You know what I mean? But she's also someone who really deserves that vote. Um, but yeah, I'm not 100% certain, but I think there might be an announcement for him coming up in February too, which will be really cool.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. I'm in the dark from that, but that is exciting. But part of that mindset of always wanting to develop is also the fact that you're at the level now, and of course, you just fought Timbo, who was a well experienced. He's up for a submission of the year that I think is a very exciting submission of the year. Of course, you guys were both nominated, so you were fighting a good guy. But I think from now on, part of the excitement and from your athletic background when you were a Division I athlete is football is you want to play the best teams. You want to compete against the best. And I think now what advanced amateur really does is it really eliminates any risk of fighting somebody who kind of doesn't have the level, right? Now Timbo could have fought at advanced amateur. He actually was a team player and had a fight down for you. And you've already thanked him. You've already said that very respectfully on the post fight. But I think it's cool for you that you're always going to be fighting better and better opponents, whether it's advanced amateur and then your first couple pro fights, and then as you become more and more experienced as you go. Let's get to um, who do you want to thank? Who are you excited that's going to be there? Do you have certain fans that you want to thank? Do you have sponsors? Let's kind of end on that excitement of what's exciting for you coming up, and who do you want to thank?
well, I wanted to touch on what you said before because you asked me about it before, and it just came back to me. But yeah, there's no point. There's no point of fighting. I hated my first couple of fights. Like my boys used to make fun of me, and they were like, "You're not fighting anybody who's like, you know what I mean? I don't know the word I'm looking for, but you're not fighting anybody who's like notable. You know what I mean?" And I was like, "Well, I want to know. I mean, what do you want me? You fighting McGregor? You know what I mean? It's like,
Your
um."
boys do want you to fight McGregor. Of course they do. Yeah.
But the exciting thing is now there's no denying it. Like whoever comes after him, whatever, like you said, it's you only want to fight the best. You know what I mean? You want to be that's how you become the best. That's how you become the best version of yourself. You just continue to no one wants to fight a fight they're gonna win. I mean, no one that is a real competitor
Sure.
wants to fight a fight that they know they're gonna win. What's the excitement in that? You know, the whole point of getting in that cage and getting fired up is you're scared. Like it's dude, you're about to get into a fist fight. Like you don't know how this is gonna play out, you know? So it's that's that. But to get on the sponsors, like after every fight, you know, huge shout out to Slice on Broadway. That's my man Rico. He's always got, you know, they probably got the best pizza in Pittsburgh, in my opinion. Um, huge shout out to Shelly, the girl that makes these shirts. Um, and then just a huge shout out to the Academy, Chris Williams, Kirk, Shaka. You know, these are all guys who are the building blocks of the career and the fights I've had so far and the fights I'm going to have, you know. So I wouldn't really be anywhere without those guys.
Well, that's a great shout out list. I really appreciate you making time. It's a busy life you're running, training. You've got this incredible opportunity for the lightweight. You know, we've said it. And one thing that 247 that I really respect, and Jim Mooney's talked about it, and Hunter Hamastock's talked about it, and the owner Ryan Middleton's talked about it, that they want amateur belts to really mean something. And sometimes other promotions. You know, I've actually witnessed in Delaware a long time ago an amateur heavyweight fight against a guy who was 0 and 1 and a guy who was 0 and 0. And they had a belt and everything. I remember thinking, oh my goodness, you know. But but I think that's something that can be tempting for promoters to put up belts because it looks more exciting and fans get a little bit more pumped. But I think what they have always said for 247 is amateur belts are going to be fought amongst the best people so that it actually means something. And we could talk about the amateur belt holders who have already gone pro. I'm thinking of Hunter Starner, who was 6-0, fighting a 6-0 guy in the defending champ at the time, and you know guys that win, and then it shows that you're really at that level to be significant. So really
Because
appreciate you coming on. Can't wait to see what happens, not only for you, but you've also teased maybe Craig Perry from the Academy might be on that card as well. And 247 has said, I think there's 10 fights already matched for that card. And you're the only fight that we really know that they announced both sides of the card. Super pumped. Hats off to you. Hats off to everybody at the Academy. What a great way for us to still be celebrating the start of 2024. And 247 Fighting Chip Raw in the Berg, February 24th is literally not that far away, right around the corner. And I know with as many tickets as you're going to sell, super important that people get tickets. I would assume that tickets will become a premium by the time the fight rolls around. You've been listening to Luke Payson from MMA Fancast with Cowboy Eddy. Thanks so much for coming on the show, sir.
thanks for having me. Have a good night.
You take care. Good night to you.